foreign gold and exuding elegance, the coveted Ferrero Rocher holds inside it one of the most guarded secrets in the food industry. The recipe began more than a century ago and has remained in the hands of one family for 4 generations, all thanks to one Italian who turned his father's local bakery into a multi-billion-dollar company and one of the most distinctive chocolate brands in history. This is the story of Michele Ferrero. Foreign music was born in 1989 in Piedmont, northwest Italy. The area is known for its border with Switzerland, with the Alps forming a cinematic background. Michele grew up in the small town of Alba in between Turin and Genoa on the southern part of Piedmont. It's home to some of the country's most prestigious vineyards in the country, a rich Roman history and architectural site dating as far back as the 12th century. It was in this town that Michele's father Pietro began a humble bakery with a grand vision. Pietro had been trained as a pastry chef and developed an obsession with finding the right balance of cocoa and hazelnuts which were easy to source locally. This quest led to Pietro's own version of gianduja, a thick dark chocolatey paste which was created in the region, helping to make Piedmont famous for chocolate. With Pietro's recipe, though, which he marketed as pasta gianduja, this creamy spread would go from a regional delight to a nationwide bestseller. Pasta gianduja quickly became a hit. It was packaged in aluminum foil in small loaves that needed to be cut with a knife. In 1946, together with his brother Giovanni, Pietro formed the company Ferrero to grow the business from a pastry shop and small chocolatier into a large company. Strangely, Pietro's best business decision wasn't in his shop at all. It was when his wife Pietra gave birth to their only child Michele in 1925. Michele grew up in Alba, which at the time was a small rural town with little activity. By the time his career was over, Michele would have turned this town into not only a regional destination but the engine room of a global powerhouse. Michele learned the trade by following his father closely, but he was marred by tragedy when his father died young at just 51 years old, leaving the business in the hands of his brother Giovanni and Michele. Less than a decade later, Giovanni died too, leaving Michele heartbroken and in charge of a growing business. Michele's father's products were unique, and the ingredients he used as his signature were largely out of necessity. Hazelnuts offered a cheaper substitute for chocolate, which was difficult to import, especially during wartime when the rest of Europe cut Italy off. But Pietro's ingenuity led to him establishing a company, a workshop, and acquiring a factory to ramp up production. Pietro Ferrero could never have imagined how his prostagandula would be again transformed after his son took over the company. Michele started his leadership with a bold move. Instead of a chocolate bar or used as a filling, his genius move was to create a chocolate spread, super crema, as launched in 1949, 2 years after Michele took the reins, and it was an instant hit. The spread was affordable to the average Italian. It turned chocolate from a luxury product into an everyday one. Super crema was kept in a jar joining the shelf next to other spreads used on bread, and immediately Michele proved himself to be a visionary. He sent a truck painted in the company's colors traveling around Italy and giving out chocolate to children. Michele understood what very few of his competitors did at the time, that advertising and marketing could create demand. Within a decade of Michele's leadership, Ferrero had opened up 3 new factories, 2 of them outside Italy. The key to his success was moving into the German market, where he converted old missile factories into candy manufacturers. Michele took advantage of the post-war infrastructure and an increased appetite for confectionery bars which had developed during the war as rations were handed out. In 1964, Michele made another defining move. He changed the name of Super Crema to Nutella, which combined the English word nut with an Italian diminutive associated with other food like mozzarella, portabella and citronella, but it wasn't a simple rebranding. Michele had inherited his father's obsession with finding the right balance of ingredients, and when he did, Nutella was launched with a different recipe to Super Crema, one that remains top secret to this day. It is so guarded that there are no media tours allowed of factories, and the original recipe was reportedly once translated into Arabic and locked in an Egyptian vault. This was a product that was widely marketed to all consumers, quickly becoming a favorite of European children. In Michele's masterful stroke of giving the name worldwide appeal opened up new markets. In 1983, he exported the product to the United States, which launched it into a global sensation. Michele saw the success of Nutella but had no intentions of slowing down. In 1968, he created a product marketed exclusively to children, calling it Kinder, which means children in German. Michele had already expanded production to Germany and had confidence that he could appeal to the market's tastes. He was right. Kinder was a more traditional confectionery than Nutella or Ferrero Rocher, but the specific combination of milk chocolate, sugar, milk powder and cocoa put it a step above the rest. The brand has gone on to release a range of different products, including KinderSurprise egg-shaped chocolate encasing a small toy, Kinder Bueno wafer sticks, Kinder Maxi King ice creams and dozens more. The target demographic continues to be children. Michele's genius was in his marketing. He was able to keep a squeaky clean luxury image for the company, all the while launching different products for different markets, segmenting each with its own brand. And just over 3 decades after inheriting his father's business, he was ready to unveil his masterpiece. In 1979, Michele introduced the world to a chocolate that has become one of the most sought after in the world. Its inception was semi-religious. Michele took the name Roche from the grotto where a saint once reported a vision of the Virgin Mary. Michele traveled to Roche de Mesopile in Lourdes in southern France as a pilgrimage. He was so inspired that he coined the name Ferrero Rocher for his new chocolate and continued to visit Lourdes for the rest of his life. The profound meaning behind the chocolate is matched by its ingenious composition. Ferrero Rocher is made up of 3 layers of full crunchy hazelnut, which is dipped in Nutella and then wrapped in a wafer shell topped with chocolate and roasted hazelnut pieces. But the candy has also become famous for its 4th layer, the packaging. Each piece is wrapped in gold foil glued to a paper cup and stamped with the brand name. This aesthetic makes set a pseudo-high-end product loosely associated with wealth and decadence. The packaging has become so distinctive that plastic boxes or displays are always made as clear as possible to emphasize the gold wrapping. They have become staples of celebration. More than half of Ferrero Rocher's sales occur in the last 3 months of the year in the lead up to Christmas and New Year's Eve, and there are now a variety of different flavors too. Michele continued to aggressively globalize both sales and production, spreading Ferrero's products spread to the rest of the world. He diversified the sourcing of raw materials and built up 8 factories across 5 continents along with sales offices. Michele Ferrero stared his father's chocolate company into worldwide success by fiercely protecting the company's image. He did this by segmenting the company into distinct brands. Ferrero Rocher was a product of decadence and prosperity. Kinder was marketed for children and Nutella was an all-purpose general product. The company has remained politically neutral and rarely offers sponsorship deals. Michele's connection to his roots never never wavered either. He funded the expansion of bus lines to draw workers in from further in the countryside and funded a variety of social programs keeping a local population of workers who were embedded in the community as much as Michele himself, is why there has never been a strike at the Ferrero factory. In just a few years after releasing Ferrero Rocher, he established the Ferrero Foundation in his hometown of Alba, which features a kindergarten, a school, a bar, workshops, fitness rooms and even medical facilities. The building is available to employees who have spent more than 25 years with the company. The Ferrero company remains in the family to this day. After Michele's passing, his sons Giovanni and Pietro, named after his father and uncle, took over the company. In 2019, the Ferrero Group had over $11 billion in annual revenue and in 2018 purchased $2.8 billion worth of businesses from Nestlé, its largest competitor, to deeper entrench its hold on the global food market. Ferrero is the largest buyer of hazelnuts in the world as a staple of their major products. Ferrero consumes around 25% of the entire global production of hazelnuts. Michele Ferrero's lasting impact is felt best in his hometown of Alba, which was once a barn cultural community. Now 1/5 of the population is now employed by Ferrero, while the headquarters of the global empire remains in nearby Turin. When Michele Ferrero died in 2015, he was the richest man in Italy with a net worth of around $55 billion. His obituary in Forbes magazine attributed his wealth simply to chocolates, and there was a statue of him in Alba cementing his place as the king of chocolate.